us humans are responsible for this planet Earth. We also elected Donald Trump as President of the United States, so that's a thing. Nonetheless, our next speech is titled Holiday Depression, and it will be spoken by Matias. Let's clap.
Hey, hello? Okay. So, who's excited for the holidays? Let me hear it.
Yay!
Yeah, well, I'm not. So, as a child, I loved Christmas. It was a time when there was no school, and I was given an abundance of presents for merely being the great kid that I was. Now, times were easy back then, but as I grew older, the same things became bleak and boring. Thus, it is no surprise to me that holiday depression is prominent in our society. Unbeknownst to some people, the holidays are a perfect time to become depressed. In fact, there's a myth that says suicide rates skyrocket during holidays such as Valentine's and Christmas. And although there isn't any scientific evidence to back this, it does beg the question as to why this myth exists in the first place. But the questions I'll be asking you today is, how does modern society affect our happiness during these holidays? But more importantly, what role does commercialization and social media play in all of this? Well, to start off, it's no secret that companies use the holidays as a way to promote their product. Yeah, you'll see these kind of Christmas advertisements all over the radio, on the newspaper, and especially on the television. Now, the commercialization of these products has a bigger effect on the human psychology than most would imagine. In general, it affects your happiness as it persuades you to buy things that you don't really want. The repetition of these advertisements puts a sense of importance in the product itself, making you want to go out of your way to get it. You need this. Now, the holidays ultimately becomes a time for big corporations to manipulate families into getting their children everything they want. Which to me, I think that just ruins the purpose of the holiday altogether. We should not be expected to buy our friends and families everything that they ask for, especially if we cannot afford everything they want. Now, don't get me wrong, for my parents out there, gifting is definitely a nice gesture, but I don't believe it's the foundation of happiness. Now, as a child, I was not expected to buy my family any gifts. I obviously did not have the money to do so. I barely do now. But guess who did? Guess who had the money to buy me these presents? Well, my parents. And I expected so much of them when I really shouldn't have. Which ties back to my main point. Commercialization plays a key aspect in your sadness during the holidays by giving you false expectations of what you may want during the holidays. And when these expectations aren't met, well, we're disappointed. Sad. Now, social media also does a very good job of inaccurately representing the holidays. Inaccurately. Although some may argue that the holidays bring people together, it's a time of joy, I argue on social media, it definitely causes social isolation. Now, if 90% of the adults, young adults, in this room use social media, and they'll log on about once a day, then they're all exposed to a vast amount of information that could potentially harm them, offend them. Well, that's a given, right? But what does it have to do with the holidays? Well, during the holidays, some of these 90% will post photos of themselves enjoying the holidays. Well, out at skating rinks, baking cookies, parties, you name it. Now, this doesn't necessarily become a problem until another user stumbles upon these messages, these posts, and, well, naturally, we compare ourselves with whomever's on the screen. Decide whether the person on the screen is having more fun than we are, and we inevitably put ourselves down. Now, in this kind of scenario, I think there's two imaginable responses. First one being, we turn off our phone and we get on with our holidays. The second one being that we take photos of meticulously planned memories and we post our best online, try and look as if we're having fun too. Now, I'd be lying if I said I never fit in either of those two scenarios. I have pretty bad holidays, but yeah, so my point is though, as humans, we were built to be judgmental. And as a result of this, well, we involuntarily compare ourselves to others. We decide who's prettier, who's more handsome, who's having more fun. Now, to avoid all this craziness, I've come up with a quick solution for you all. These upcoming holidays, I urge you, stay away from this negativity. Get off social media. Temporarily delete Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, MySpace, and see what good it does to you. And don't fall into the commerce aspect of it all. By that, I mean, don't buy your kid everything he or she wants. That is preposterous, especially after my presentation. Remember to tell your family that you love them. That's the whole point of my presentation. But most of all, if anything, take this one important part of my speech. Have a wonderful Kwanzaa, a marvelous Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Thank you.